Hi, everybody. This is God SAAD for the SAAD Truth. The clip herewith constitutes the third of my trilogy of Jungian episodes. Yesterday, I posted a clip wherein I addressed Carl Jung, and earlier this morning, I posted a clip wherein I read a passage that may or may not have been written by Carl Jung, or may not have been God's satire. And the point of doing that exercise was to demonstrate that in the same way that when one reads an actual postmodernist text, it is difficult to know whether it is an actual postmodernist text or whether it is from a random postmodern generator, an algorithm that generates random gibberish. And so earlier I posted the clip wherein I read a passage, and I will now close that loop by reading another passage that may or may not have been written by Carl Jung. If it wasn't written by Carl Jung, then you'll tell me that it is satire, and we'll see if you're right. But if it is written by Carl Jung and you recognize that this is his language, and by the way, you cannot hide behind, but you can't take this passage out of context, but you don't understand the full body of his work. Any given passage should be able to adhere to semantic rules. We shouldn't be able to read a very long passage and not walk away understanding what that passage means. And so, for those of you who do think that what I'm about to read is from Jung, then I would very much appreciate that in the comments section you provide us with an explanation for us simpleton who don't have the spiritual and mystical profundity to understand this level of cerebral sophistication. So here we go. Unity and totality stand at the highest point on the scale of objective values because their symbols can no longer be distinguished from the image Dei, D-E-I. Hence, all statements about the God image apply also to the empirical symbols of totality. Experience shows that individual mandalas are symbols of order and that they occur in patients principally during times of psychic disorientation or reorientation. As magic circles, they bind and subdue the lawless powers belonging to the world of darkness and depict or create an order that transforms the chaos into a cosmos. To the conscious mind, the mandala appears at first as an unimpressive point or dot, and a great deal of hard and painstaking work, as well as the integration of many projections, are generally required before the full range of the symbol can be anything like completely understood. If this insight were purely intellectual, it could be achieved without much difficulty, for the worldwide pronouncements about the God within us and above us, about Christ, and the corpus mysticum, the personal and suprapersonal Atman, etc., are all formulations that can easily be mastered by the philosophic intellect. This is the common source of the illusion, that one is then in possession of the thing itself. But actually one has acquired nothing more than its name, despite the age-old prejudice that the name magically represents the thing, and that it is sufficient to pronounce the name in order to posit the thing's existence. In the course of the millennia, the reasoning mind has been given every opportunity to see through the futility of this conceit, though that has done nothing to prevent the intellectual mastery of a thing from being accepted at its face value. It is precisely our experiences in psychology which demonstrate as plainly as could be wished that the intellectual grasp of a psychological fact produces no more than a concept of it, and that a concept is no more than a name, a flatus vocis. These intellectual counters can be bandied about easily enough. They pass lightly from hand to hand, for they have no weight or substance. They sound full, but are hollow, and though purporting to designate a heavy task and obligation, they commit us to nothing. The intellect is undeniably useful in its own field, but it is a great cheat and illusionist outside of it whenever it tries to manipulate values. Satire or real? If it's satire, Tell me why this one is satire, whereas the one that I read earlier, was that satire or was that real? Were you able to extract meaning from my earlier clip? Or what about this one? Were you able to extract meaning? Leave your comments. I look forward to it. Have a good night, everybody. Cheers.